Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Brian Lee Durfee, author of The Forgetting Moon and The Blackest Heart, both books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I am going to be reviewing another Simon & Schuster novel entitled Dreamcatcher by Stephen King. Yes, if you've been following my channel, you know I've been reviewing every Stephen King in order of publication. We are up to Dreamcatcher now. So if you want to catch any of my other reviews of Stephen King novels, just look for them on my channel. They're everywhere. And we're also reviewing the Audible.com versions. I have been following along. I've read all the Stephen King novels before. I am rereading these. And while I reread them, I listen to them on Audible.com. The Audible.com narrator is a voice actor named Jeffrey Demunn? Jeffrey Demunn. Demunn. I have not heard this guy before. He did a good job with the book, so kudos to the Audible.com people, or whoever put that together. Probably Simon & Schuster's recording. I don't know. But anyway, we also review the covers because, as you know, not only do I collect every Stephen King book in hardback, but I also collect them in mass market paperback, and I collect them all in Audible.com. So let's go over the two different versions here. This is the original first edition hardcover, which, by the way, I really like this. I really like this one. Yeah, it's kind of like a simple Photoshop piece with the deer, the light streaming through the forest. It's got a nice wraparound look with some more deer hunting and deer in the forest, because the book is about deer hunting, and we'll get into the book here in a second. The paperback version, it's just like they decided to vomit out a bunch more Photoshop nonsense, and I don't like this at all. Although it does have one of our characters here in a wheelchair, I believe. And just some... This one is very elegant. This one looks like a kind of a Photoshop diarrhea. Yee. So we are going to give... And then there's nothing really on the back or the spine. I mean... It's like we got an A+ job here, and then somebody decided to give us a D- job here. So we're going to go with this one. This one wins, folks. This one wins. So let's talk about Dreamcatcher. We'll put this here so we can see it, so we're not holding it anymore. Dreamcatcher. Oh, all right. Voila. Let's get down to brass tacks, you know. This is essentially a first contact novel. This is essentially a science fiction novel. It opens up with a lot of vignettes of newspaper articles about people that were UFO sightings, television newscasts about people abducted by aliens. It opens up with about 2 or 3 pages of just that kind of stuff. Different newspaper articles and television broadcasts about unidentified flying objects and aliens. Not only that, but it's kind of like and then it turns into a... How do I put this? It's like the movie Aliens, you know, where the monsters come out of their guts. Well, this one's like Aliens. Instead of the monsters exploding out of their guts, the monsters explode out of their assholes like dynamite. In fact, Stephen King's wife refers to this book as the book about the exploding shit weasels. That's what they say. It says it in the very back. It says it in the very, very back acknowledgement page, where this is the book my wife called the one about the... it's my book about the exploding shit weasels. That's what it is. It's kind of like these aliens come down and they infect a person's body, and they explode out of the body through the anus and sphincter in a very, very gruesome way. In fact, this book, Dreamcatcher, with such an elegant cover, an elegant title, so much fart and poo jokes that there are more fart and poo jokes and diarrhea things and stuff coming out of buttholes in this book than all the rest of the Stephen King universe of books combined. And there's like 92 some odd books combined in that Stephen King universe. This one has all of the butt humor in it. More so than everything else combined. It just is. Where does this butt humor come from? Well, where does this stinky... Not only that, but he describes the smell. The smell of every fart that every human fart in this book, the smell of it is described in absolute detail. And every time an alien blows out somebody's butthole, that also is described in extremely gory detail. You would not think that from a book called Dreamcatcher. What is all this? Where does all this come from, though? Well, we've got these 5 friends. Henry, Jonesy, the Beeve, Pete, and Duddits. Now, these guys grew up together. Now, 4 of them, when they get older, they go on a deer hunting trip in Maine. And this is where the story starts. They're on a deer hunting trip in Maine, and they run into this guy named McCarthy, who seems very sick. He's a very sick deer hunter. And they bring him into their cabin to help nurse him, to help get him help. And this is when the crazy farts and the crazy butt stuff happens, because McCarthy has got problems with his bowels. And every time he burps and farts, like I said, it's described in gory detail by Stephen King. But they're like, man, this guy's burping and farting way too much. And the guy's like, man, if I can just take a dump, I think I'll be fine. And then they let him go into their bathroom, and that's when things just go ass over teapot real quick. And aliens start bursting out of everybody's butthole. That's the story right there. Now, there's a backstory. This is also similar to Stephen King's It, or any of those other Stephen King novels where he takes us into he gives us a lot of flashbacks into the early lives of these 4 hunters, Henry, Jonesy, the Beeve, and Pete. And we get to know them as kids through these flashbacks, and the flashbacks are great, very reminiscent of It. So if you can just soldier through the fart and butt stuff to get to the flashbacks, it's kind of got a very sweet story underneath it, where these 4 boys are friends with this sort of mentally challenged kid named Duditz, and they kind of protective of Duditz as youngsters, and we get to see all of their adventures as youngsters. Now, I will be telling you, female readers out here, this book has absolutely 0 female characters. It is 100% about these 4 deer hunters and their friend Duditz, and a few female characters kind of wander into the story in these flashbacks, but they are all seen through the eyes of very, very, very horny, young, prepubescent boys, like boys that are about 11, 12 years old. So yes, there's a girl, there's a girl, and but in the flashbacks, but they just see her as a little sexual object. The Duditz's mother is there a little bit. So if you're looking, female readers, if you're looking for a Stephen King novel with great female characters, this ain't the one. Not even close. Not even close. That being said, this is a cool book. This is a really cool book. I liked it. I liked it because I knew, from the very get-go, that this is an alien first contact, and that and it's like the movie Aliens, where the aliens infect you somehow and then explode out your body through your sphincter, in this case. And then they've got to deal with this problem. These deer hunters have to deal with this problem. This is great book, and there's a couple of things in here, and I want to mention this before I end this. There are some Easter eggs, and I think they're accidental Easter eggs. I don't think Stephen King planned this. Well, he couldn't have planned this, because The Deer Hunter came out in 2000. Not the Deer Hunter. The Dreamcatcher came out in 2000, and his novel, where is it? 11/22/63. His novel 11/22/63 came out maybe in 2016 or something. I can't remember. We'll look at that. I'll look it up real quick. This one came out in 2011. So in the year 2000, this one came out. In the year 2011, this one came out. So I think that this is an accident, but there's references to this book in this book, which came out 11 years prior, which was crazy. I was like, when I was reading that, I was like, okay, I think that's accidental. I think that maybe Stephen King got the notion of time travel and going back to stop the Kennedy assassination in this book, because he talks about it quite a bit in this book. And then he eventually wrote it 11 years later. I just thought I would point that out before I end the review, because it was kind of cool. Very cool. And I think that, because he does mention, what would it be like if someone went back and stopped Lee Harvey Oswald from killing Kennedy? He mentions it in this book, and then he wrote about it 11 years later. I just thought that was maybe the germ of the I just dropped the book. Maybe the germ of the idea sprouted from this, and then he thought about it for 11 years and eventually. Anyway, that's not neither here nor now. The Dreamcatcher. Let's give the Dreamcatcher 8 out of 10 stars. I think it's a good book. Very, very descriptive in its horror elements. A very good horror / first contact alien book. Dreamcatcher, much like the Tommy Knockers, only this one is way more gross. Dreamcatcher, 8 out of 10.